Welcome to Hot Splices for our look at the 93 Academy Awards. 93rd Academy Awards are going to be presented April 25th. They were supposed to be presented February 28th, but they've been delayed 2 months because of the coronavirus pandemic, which leads me to this mask. This mask is really bothering me, and I think I'm going to take it off because you probably cannot hear me properly. So here we go. Here's the big reveal. And you'll notice the mustache, which developed under the mask, unbeknownst to me, because it was dark and damp. And it was pretty good. I actually predicted the cold winter that we had, you know, like a fuzzy caterpillar. The thicker the coat, the colder the winter. At any rate, let's get to the movies. The movies this year that are nominated, especially in the Best Picture category, there's very many interesting themes going on, and there's actually a couple of them that are bookends. At least I think they are. For example, Judas and the Black Messiah and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Both hark back to the 1960s and the late 1960s era of protests. The Black Messiah is about the Black Panther movement, the Black Panthers, the Black Power movement. The Panthers protested police brutality. Does that sound familiar? It rings a bell in 2021, 2020. The other film that I mentioned, The Trial of the Chicago 7, was principally about the Chicago riot against the Democrat convention. And it really led out of the anti-war movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement. So we have a really interesting bookend here with a look at the Black Panther movement, Black Power movement, and the radicals, the white kids mostly from the suburbs protesting on the campuses and then the streets across America. So I thought that was interesting that both of those films got nominated for Best Picture. Another theme that I think we have going here is sort of a individual politics, shall we say, a economic, socio-economic politics represented by Nomadland and Minari. Nomadland refers to the nomads of the RV set who travel around mostly the Southwest, and they pick up a job here and there. For example, Frances McDormand's character in No Man's Land, she works at Amazon. Others work at other different places. They work at fast food restaurants, but they basically live in their RVs or their cars, and they don't really have a house, a roof over their head, so to speak. And that's the choice they make. And it's a very interesting, inspirational film about folks who are, and they're actually real nomads, so to speak, in the film, who combined with the actors. Frances McDormand is one of the few actual professional actors in the film. Very interesting film. Bookended with that, I think, is Minari. Now, in Minari, instead of being footloose and fancy-free in their RVs, a Asian family, a Korean family, decides to put down roots in Arkansas. They move from California to Arkansas, and the husband has the idea of raising Asian vegetables to sell to larger markets in nearby Texas. Well, his wife thinks this is a ridiculous idea, especially when they pull up and she sees what they're going to live in, which is a ramshackle, double-wide, it's a, manufactured home. We would call it a trailer, but of course, it's a manufactured home. At any rate, the kids think it's funny because this house has wheels on it. It's a charming film in many, many ways, and it represents, again, another side of the, if you will, the American dream. Here you have the nomads trying to, they're actually hopping off the grid, getting off the American dream, you might say. And in Nomadland, in Minari compared to Nomadland, the Chinese, the Asian, I should say, the South Korean father is trying to make a better life for his family. So I thought those are very, very interesting contrasts for the 2021 Oscars. There are two others that, in a way, represent personal politics in a different way concerning women from totally different decades from across the years. The first one is Mank, in which you have the story of really, it's a story of Herman Mankiewicz, who was the screenwriter, and along with Orson Welles, and who knows who wrote what, and that's part of the controversy over the years, and that's part of the plot in Mank. But also, the star of that film really is none other than Allentown native Amanda Seyfried playing Marion Davies, who was the girlfriend of William Randolph Hearst, on which Citizen Kane is loosely based. Well, you have a woman in there that is Marion Davies, who is very strong-willed, very independent in the characterization, and I think a very excellent portrayal as she is written in the screenplay and as she is acted by Amanda Seyfried. Then you have the film Promising Young Woman, and you really have an amazing performance here. In fact, she's nominated. Carey Mulligan is nominated in the category of lead actress for Promising Young Woman. This film is really it's been called a feminist revenge film. I think it's much more than that. But basically, here you have the story of an independent young woman who decides to enact revenge for the death of a friend of hers in college, and also for her own mistreatment by men. So in a way, I draw the parallels because you could see the growing feminism in the Mank film represented by Marion Davies, and then it comes to full flower in Promising Young Woman. I thought there was another theme going on, and there are 8 films nominated. There could be 10 films nominated in the best film category. But the other 2 that are interesting to me represent another kind of personal dilemma, I would say, not politics. And these films would be The Father and The Sound of Metal. In The Father, Anthony Hopkins gives an amazing career-capping performance as a man suffering from dementia. I won't give anything away about the film. If you've seen it or if you haven't seen it, it basically really plays with your emotions and toys with the space-time continuum, and you really don't know what's going on, and neither does The Father, played by Anthony Hopkins. Now, in the Sound of Metal, basically you have a wonderful performance by Riz Ahmed, and Riz is a drummer. Now, the reason I link these 2 films because Riz loses his hearing. How can he play drums? Well, the actor actually learned sign language for this movie. 2 amazing performances, Anthony Hopkins, Riz Ahmed, representing, in a way, persons with disabilities, if you will. A man, an elderly man who has dementia, a young man who loses his hearing. So I think, I don't know if, obviously it wasn't planned this way, but I think thematically, these are very interesting motifs for the nominated films in the Best Picture category for the 93rd Oscars. We're going to continue with our next segment, which will include my picks for the major categories in the Oscars.